Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts and this is True Divine 4-4. So I'm recording, still recovering, still having a few spikes in temperature, but they're going down quick. Thank you for all of the healing. I appreciate you all for doing it. You know I do. So I'm just recording here and there where I can to get back on track business-wise and putting out this free content that I put out. So excuse the fact that I'm not going live too much just as yet. So this is for the 11th of August, already the 11th of August 2021. So recording it on the 10th, and this is general, take what resonates with the tarot. It might be that it resonates with you as far as the collective message of what's going on around us. But also the individual message may or may not resonate with you as what's going on within your little circle or within your inner self. Just take what resonates and leave what does not. No offense taken, and leave a message, leave a like, and please do share. It's please do's there. So but most of all, do as you please, and thank you for being here and watching. So for the 11th, what do people need to know most of all for the 11th of August 2021? Okay. So we've got the Strength card in reverse, and the Temperance card. Okay, so Strength card in reverse. Can you see that there? This would speak to those times when you know that you need the strength to go forward in something. And as far as from the collective point of view, there is a lot of strength that needs to be drawn right now in order to be proactive and poised at the same time. So the Strength card in general, major arcana, if we look at it in the upright, we have the divine feminine aspect of the lady here, prizing the jaw of the lion open in the divine masculine aspect. We have the infinite sign above her head, and we have it as the number 8, major arcana. This would speak to, in the upright, it takes a lot of strength to not just go into battle willy-nilly, whether that be verbally, physically, mentally. It takes a lot of strength to not do that. It takes a lot of strength with the divine feminine aspect of the Strength card to be poised and graceful and timely, and that's using the psychic nature, the intuitive natures that you have, cards flying, to be brought, to be timely, to bring about the right result, the balanced result in the infinite loop that we're in. And there's the balance between that, in that infinite loop of knowing when to be that divine feminine, poised and timely, timed and graceful energy, and when then to initiate the divine masculine, which is the lion, that action. If you're to look at lions in nature as well, they take a lot of time because they go full force to catch their fill, to protect their pride. They rest a lot, they sleep a lot. You know, if you're watching lions, if you're watching them in the wild, then they're sleeping a lot of the time. A lot of the time it can be pretty boring, to be quite frank, because they're like my cat. She when she goes, she is all action. Mit. She is all go. When you see her going to chase something, boom, she's gone. But she spends a lot of time in that divine feminine aspect of resting, of preening herself, of being kind to herself. Cats have no problem with being kind to themselves and being graceful with it, and owning the fact that this is me and I like me, and I'm going to preen myself, I'm going to clean myself, I put a video, she's been my bed rest partner, because she's usually on the bottom of my bed more than I am in the bed. you know, it's more her bed than mine, in that she was my bed rest partner, or I was her bed rest partner over this time where my body was poorly. And I put a video up because it's just so adorable and cute, for one. But there she is, you know, preening herself, and totally, absolutely couldn't care less that I'm there hovering over a video in it and cooing over this being, this animal that has taken such love and pride over herself. There's something very beautiful about that. And maybe you've forgotten that. Maybe you've been indoctrinated into this thing of, you know, it's not good to have pride in yourself. It's not good to take time to rest and meditate and be connected. But it's because of, if we're looking at this for reflective purposes, because of the energy of a cat, a lion, not having the judgment of others over them, just not accepting them in general, it means when they do need to engage, they engage, boom, rapid speed, and they usually catch what they go after, or they usually land how they want to land. You know, you can see them lazing about in a tree, again, like my cat, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, she's jumped down and she's landed perfectly. And that is because, no doubt, she stayed in deep connection with herself a lot of the time, sleeping, resting, preening herself, purring, you know, literally doing her own mantra with her purr. You can see it, she starts to purr, and just like the, you know, she goes off into this space that is just hers, no matter what is going on around her. And so that's important, to, no matter what the chaos around you, taking that time out to give, take pride in yourself, both physically, energetically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, all of the elements, to really be in connection with that and not feel the guilt that many of us do for taking that time out. Something I am guilty of, feeling that guilt of, you know, not being on the go all of the time. It's something I've indoctrinated myself with, and being a Gemini, that's part of my challenge, to channel that. And sometimes my body says, no, enough. And that's when I sort of get the cue of, all right, okay, you're right. So there's that aspect of this strength card in reverse. Where are you not taking this time out for self in order to, because often when we're in that guilt space of, when we are taking time out, we're feeling that guilt. It's actually, we sort of tell ourselves it's detrimental to the action side of us, the divine masculine side of us, when actually, if we were to take the cat again, it is actually absolutely integral to the fact that a cat is so poised and so graceful and so instant in its action when its action is required. So getting the rebalance of that is super important. And when this being in reverse, it would say that actions being taken where action maybe should not be taken, and it's, you know, flying off the handle, going in too fast, saying something too quickly, and at the same time, nothing much is getting achieved regarding building that intuitive muscle, building that psychic side of self, because the action all the time without the balance of the taking pride in oneself is not there. And so a lot of you might be feeling like you're in this infinite loop where, you know, you get so much progress, but then you get flipped back into the infinite loop, like this conveyor belt, like this roller coaster going around, and there's no progression. And so to get that back in the upright would be super important, to gain in that progression into something that is greater, into your greatness. Now, as far as the collective stage, we are getting to a point where action needs to be taken. But plans must be in place. I'm working real hard with special people to make contingency plans, to use my psychic side as I do in business, when I do business readings for people, use that to engage in the timely manner, to be an asset to the people that I'm working with, using that intuitive divine feminine side that I've got, that I can intuitively guide timely approaches, timely actioned approaches. and building on that, you know, in the background. A lot of this does have to be in the background right now, because like a cat, we are going to have to pounce as a collective without warning. Because what is happening right now is we are having action taken upon us from the collective stage point of view on a daily basis, and they've taken the time to plan this out years ahead, you know, in the 80s, planning this very moment out. So they have actually engaged in the what we would call the divine feminine aspect, very much so. Give them their kudos, because if we don't do that, then we can have too much pride and never learn actually from what they have been doing to us, learn how we take that back and turn that around, flip that script. And so they have been engaging in this underground manifestation process of building the vessel, building the birth canal to birth into the collective what they planned to birth, the things that they planned to bring in, the changes that they planned to bring in, the gene editing that they planned to do. All of this, they've taken their time on it, and it will get to a point where there is more action. So us taking that on board in our individual lives so that we get good at it and practiced in it, one, it will help us be great in our individual lives, but two, it will also help us be timely and pouncy, if that's a word, like the cat, in order to catch our kill, in order to catch our greatness, in order to rebalance the scales a bit in our favor, in our children's favor. And so there's a definite message for that for a lot of us, me included. And the next card, being another major arcana, they're all major arcanas actually, is the Temperance card. So this would speak to getting that balance, transmuting that energy. There is a lot with the Strength in reverse here. There is a lot that is trying to trigger us into premature responses, into premature actions that would actually see us slip into the hands of an enemy, or slip into the wants and lusts of somebody else who would want our downfall, or indeed just slip into this slippery trap that we keep putting ourselves in our individual lives by not taking this time out to really build on both aspects of our divinity in a balanced way. So the Temperance card comes in as being in connection with yourself first and foremost, but then as being, you see the toe here, the toe is in the pool. This is the collective unconscious. This is the knowing of everything is at our hand if we seek it. The inner standing is there if we seek it. So while gaining that inner standing, there is a lot going on in our individual lives and in the collective that would trigger us into anger, into resentment, into a position as the cat in a way that would be detrimental to us with this Strength in reverse. We have to have the wisdom and the knowledge in ourselves and the sturdiness within ourselves to know that working on this strength, when we dip our toe into this collective unconscious and actually get the answers that we seek, a lot of that is to unlearn everything that has been indoctrinated and taught, to be able to lift that veil of the indoctrination, of the control, of the oppression, of the divide. Then at that point, we have to know in ourselves. So we must flip this around first. And so taking that time out for self first, you know, if you were going into a fight or a race or an exam or anything like that, the adrenaline's pumping, it's wanting you to act, because everything in your body with that adrenaline is giving you that impulse to act. A lot of us are feeling this from outside forces deliberately right now, and cosmic forces right now. And from within, we're feeling this, we're feeling the intensity of the situations. And so this adrenaline is pumping. Instead of acting in an untimely manner and actually giving ourselves over to an enemy or giving ourselves over to the enemy within ourselves, we take the time out to learn how to channel that adrenaline to actually put it in a place like the cat does, where it is in reserve, ready, that when the time happens that action is to be taken, we are ready. And so getting yourself ready for some of the truths or untruths that are going to be revealed to yourself when you start to dip your toe into this collective unconsciousness. This is where the transmutation process is integral, that you are able to not break down, to not have anxiety attacks, to know that you are capable of being the alchemist and to truly alchemize, transmute that energy as you are processing it, as you are absorbing it into your soul, your foot, your soul, from the below to the up, you know, working your way up and being able to know that you are capable of transmuting that information, that energy, into something that will build again more into your strength rather than degrade it. It's interesting because it's a number 14 as a major arcana, which would round down to a 5, which would be the change, the hump day, the position of which way is it going to go. To be the alchemist, to be in the temperance energy, then you are in control. No matter what you're processing, no matter what your truth you're coming across or in a stand-in, you know that you're in the position to be the alchemist, to transmute that into something that will then just build your strength up rather than put it in reverse. And often it doesn't feel like it at the time when you're sort of sitting poised. This is why I say get busy with like being like a cat. Use that time to meditate, use that time to light the candle, to preen yourself, to be kind to yourself, you know. Me being poorly, I'm literally in and out of consciousness with this high temperature, and still you know, and I've done this all of my life. My mom would tell you that I was born with things in the wrong order, in the wrong place. That has, you know, been tough on any kid, but it's the way I was born. And but still, even as a kid, getting rushed into hospital here, there, and everywhere, having big operations, I'd be apologizing to the people that I'll be there for 24/7, you know, usually. So, you know, they're more than happy to be there for me. But even to my own mum, as a child, I would apologize for being poorly. I would apologize for being a strain. And that stayed with me to the point where nothing much, because of the way I was born, nothing much puts me on my back. But, you know, the body took over and, you know, it was just drifting me off while it was working on recalibrating and controlling this temperature. But still, I'm coming in and out and I'm apologizing. And so it took somebody, so let me be that person for you today, like my mum is for me often, or like my daughter, Abby. When you're feeling that guilt, that misplaced guilt, also of taking pride in yourself, let me be the person to say to you to let go of that, to transmute that energy, let go of that guilt. You are worthy of this time for self, and make sure you get busy with it rather than dwelling on the guilt, rather than dwelling on what's not getting done. Use that energy to be lighting candles, to be putting incense around your home, to be clearing your house, clearing the energy, you know, using your smudge sticks, using your planting your plants, doing the things that strengthen that resilience and strengthen that psychic muscle and physical muscle, mental and emotional muscle, so that you can transmute anything and everything that comes your way. This is actually doing a lot. If you can do this, this is doing a lot to change the outcome of the inevitable cycle change that we are in right now. So not have that guilt, to let go of that and know that you just, or not even make excuses to say, well, no, Jenny said that this is helping the collective. To get even past that point in wisdom, to just know that this is right. This is the high priestesses. They took time. They were like the cats. They took time to just be in themselves and preen themselves and actually preen each other. wash each other's feet, and, you know, do things that are kind to self, and have people around you that would do that for you too. So the Justice card comes out. So 3 major arcanas in this tiny reading. So it's a big day. The Justice card comes out regarding, you know, what justice will be done. Now, with the Strength card in reverse and the Justice card in reverse, that shows me that without taking on board the advice that's already been given in this reading, then justice will be done. You will be served that guilt. You will be served that overwhelming energy that you can't transmute so easily. You will be what you feel is yet again the wrong people getting away with things, whether that's in your individual life or from the collective's point of view. And that is because of this need to look at things through a different lens, take the advice on board that's been given already in this reading, and already this Justice card would have turned around in the upright, which would mean your sword of truth, your balanced scales will draw in the justice you deserve. If you're not being truthful to yourself, if you're not being balanced in yourself, if you're not being kind to yourself, then that's going to mean that, you know, number 11, major arcana, in duality, you will be served the justice that you brought in for yourself. Actually, if you watch Wayne Steiger's show from last night, this actually points to a lot of what he was talking about when he was firing those questions of honesty towards yourself and towards spirit, and the collaboration between yourself and spirit. Are you honest? Are you this? Are you that? And if you cannot be honest with yourself and have the strength to do so in your individual life, and still be able to alchemize and transmute and process that information and the answers that you give yourself, then, you know, ultimately justice will come at you, but it will come at you in reverse, and it will be right, because that is what you're putting out. That's what will be brought in. As far as a collective, we do need to get in this process and deeply, because of ultimately, yet again, the powers that be, the systems, will bring in their justice if we do not stand for our own justice. And if we are not able to see the value in ourselves, then ultimately they will not see the value in us either, and not treat us as valuable people. And so this is where it works on a multi-layered approach with this reading today. Now, on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Queen of Wands. Now, this is the passionate, loving, very sensual queen. She's fire. But she's also got this cat here that guards the entrance to her womb. She's the queen that sits with her legs open. She's very beautiful. She's got you know, her genitals, the entrance to her womb, draped and covered, but it is very obvious that she has this sacred space that is really great for creative sex magic, for creative processes, for being artistic, for being passionate and driven. But with the rest of this reading, be careful regarding giving yourself away too easily sexually in that deep sacred act that has been diluted so much and distorted so much. There are many giving that precious energy, that precious process away in such an imbalanced way, because they're too afraid to look at what is put in them in the strength in reverse. They are too afraid to transmute the realities within their individual life, and justice keeps getting served, karma, however you want to put it. And if this isn't you, but you're being embroiled in that kind of energy, it's going to burn. It's going to come back and it's going to burn. And personally, in my work, I'm seeing a lot of people having problems with that. Not just one, not just two, not just three, not just four, more. And a lot of it, I feel, is spiritual. There are a lot of spiritual attachments to people that are really having their cake and eating it with this, hooking in with people who are willing to give this beautiful divine process away in a very diluted and distorted way. So be aware of that, and be aware of both physical STDs and both mental, emotional, and indeed spiritual STDs that are rampant right now. I warned about them a little while ago, building up. Gaia will remember better than me when I did, because I did say I would do more of a video on it. I think I did. I need to retouch on it if I didn't. Gaia, remind me if I didn't. But these spiritual STDs that, you know, the more you do not have the strength to look at it for what it is, and why you're giving yourself away like that, or why you're entering into a relationship with someone who is in that space, the more you cannot balance yourself out and alchemize the results of that. And the results keep getting more and more catastrophic, you know, the more karma keeps coming in and justice keeps getting served. And so, you know, those spiritual STDs build up. And like barnacles on a whale, they build up and they stick, you know, they're tricky to get rid of, and the results of them can be catastrophic. And they are around right now for sure, and you know, playing around in a lot of people's lives, but they're only playing around for as long as people don't have the strength to deal with them. People who are afraid to be alone with themselves are going to really feel this, and so be aware of that. And again, be like the cat, get totally comfortable. My cat loves me. She adores the kids, adores William in particular, and has a real bond with him, but she couldn't care less about, you know, how we might feel if she just decides, right, that's it, I've had enough of a stroke, I'm going now. You know, she's happy to be in her own space, just happy to be, you know, kind to herself and be alone with herself, and even purr to herself. You know, you're not even stroking, and all of a sudden you hear this rumble, and you find her curled up somewhere, and just purring to herself, not for anybody else's benefit but hers, and happy to be alone. So a lot of people's fear of being alone, and that is because they're afraid of what is in their subconscious when they dip their toe into it, when they're not distracted by others. What are they seeing? What are they feeling? And that's where that is. So to clarify the strength card, we have the Fool card. So this is pretty heavy energy, big energies. Now, this would speak of it's time for a change. It's time to be able to take that journey that has put so much fear into you, regarding maybe being alone, regarding maybe a relationship ending, regarding maybe clinging on, like in reverse with this strength card, to the wrong people for too long. And taking that journey, taking those steps to, you know, start anew in a different way than you have before. The Fool card incorporates all of the elements. You can see at the top of this card, it's got all 4 suits shown on the top of the card. It's got the diamonds, the spades, what's the other one? Looks like a clover. What is it? Clubs and the hearts. And so it incorporates everything that you've taken thus far on this new journey, because there will be this new journey in your life, regardless of what you've drawn that in. But if you're taking that new journey in a position of strength and reverse, then you're taking that new journey out of fear. You're taking that new journey from a space that is not strengthened. And so your elements won't work in your favor, they'll work to your detriment. So to get that strength in the upright and take the advice given thus far would be awesome for you. It would be integral for a sweet and beautiful journey thereafter. Now, the 5 of Wands comes up to clarify the Temperance card. So this would speak to there's inner conflict for sure, and the actions caused by the Strength in reverse and the Fool card, you know, it might mean that that conflict is reflected on the outside with people around you, on the outside of self. from the collective's point of view, we're going to see that, you know, there are enough people in a strength reverse position, frightened to look at the truths and let go of certain indoctrinations, that all of a sudden today there is going to be some sort of conflict flare up, because they're going to act out rather than act in, because they want to be distracted from whatever's in and sort of deflect and maybe action that lion too soon in the wrong way. And this would cause the 5 of Wands energy, that again will then you go back in that loop and need to transmute the fallout of it. Expect more fires to be reported. A very odd fire indeed, for sure. Expect that to be reported today. Very difficult day. The Justice card with the Knight of Cups. So this speaks to messages that, you know, are going to come in, or karma, if you like, that is going to come in, that is delivered through the emotions. It's delivered through an emotional message. Again, there are a lot of people with this energy that you might recognize in your individual lives, friends, family, or in the collective, as the enjoyment almost, or the addiction, which is key to the victimhood mode, to being the victim, and not being able to see that this loop, this infinite loop of redoing and redoing and redoing this victim role, being in conflict with self and having to transmute those energies that are difficult, but then never quite learning, would take us back into getting the justice deserved, and it's being delivered through the emotions, putting that fire out. Now we've got the 9 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. So this would speak to, if you are in this reading, or if you are witnessing this in somebody close to you, if like me, you're seeing the reports of this coming in for people wanting spiritual coaching and help and guidance, then, you know, back off. Because there's no actual coming in and helping this person. It's more about helping the people around that have had this sort of conflict brought on them unfairly, that have sorry, I've clicked on something there, that have had the fallout of this coming in around them, because this person or these persons are in this infinite loop of damage and wanting to damage others in the process. And you don't want to be particularly around or engaged with that, as far as it affecting you or letting it affect you. So this 9 of Wands would be to act with discernment. And if this resonates with you personally, this is no judgment given. This is where you stop and take that pause and reroute. You know, with this Fool card, the energy is there for you to do so. With the Strength card, the energy is there for you to flip it up in the upright. And immediately at the other end of the reading, that message to the emotions would be very different. A different kind of justice would be coming in. So it's changeable. It's always changeable to different varying degrees. So as far as today, regarding America, there's something going on today that will challenge the strength of Americans. There's something being reset, wiped, or changed today. And that's something that came in a little bit ago. I messaged Wayne about it a little while ago. It's something, I'm just going to see, because this feels like this is it really in this reading. Let's see. 1 second, I'm just so it's linked as far as I can see. Let me see, does this resonate with this reading? No. There's a change, a rewrite, something changes. It's the next progression in a big plan. Some of you might feel this energy change. It's going to affect the waters of many people. So, and you might see, ironically, temperature increases in people being reported after this day, but pertaining to this day, the 11th. So there's something going on there to track, remember what I've said, and see what comes up. And think of the number 5 with this 5 of Wands. And think of the first letter of geography. The best I can do. Ramping up of that other, you know, testing, the having a cranking up of it would start off this journey. And that's going to take some strength to be able to be connected with self, because what is coming in with that is the this new God, that, you know, eventually they're going to have people hearing this God, God speaking to them. And unfortunately, we still have a lot of people indoctrinated to this God system, the main God that has caused, you know, countless murders and atrocities thus far. So it's a revamp, a relabeling of that, and it's definitely connected to this 5 geography, you know, of testing the abilities that they've been testing for many years to be able to have the words of God literally spoken into the minds of men and women, but, you know, of men. So that is interesting. Take note of that. Note any fluctuations in energy or strange events. Note any strange fires. I know there are a lot of fires going on right now. A lot of those, I feel, are to get people out of their homes. A lot of them for other reasons, but to get people out of their homes for sure, and to go along with this narrative of, you know, all the changes that they want to bring in that won't actually help the planet, won't actually aid the planet, but they're going to put it under the guise of the green, you know, we're going from that blue and the yellow into the green, spell work. And so that's going to be interesting for sure. But, you know, to get people out of those homes, where do people without homes need to go? Camps that have been being built, very much so over this time period. So again, to me, without their dirty little hands in it, the so-called powers that be, I don't feel it would be happening quite so much, and in quite so targeted areas. So that is the reading for the 11th of August 2021. We have got at the end of this reading, you know, the 11 and the 8, taking note of that for sure. Yeah, taking note of that for sure, definitely for today. So let me know how it resonated with you. Please share, please like, and get your readings booked in, your spiritual coaching booked in, your energy work booked in. I'm booking in people again, taking it easy still. So booking in, you know, for a week time to you know, a few weeks time, but, you know, booking in nevertheless. So do that. The website is doing a lot better. going to be finished real soon, I feel. So that's good. And that means I can get those products up too, which will really help me out. So I appreciate and love you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking your time out. I do appreciate it. And much love, balance, and wholeness. Mwah.